So into this year, Nike decided to bring it up a notch, and instead of having the tallest airbag ever last year, they decided to increase the air and do a 720 look. And the idea behind 720 is not only do you have visible air on 360 degrees of the shoe, but you also have it on the bottom as well, so adding another layer and dimension of air. And this is the Air Max 720, done in the Aurora Borealis nickname. Alright, so before we begin, let's hit the subscribe button below and give me a thumbs up after the video if you really liked it. Let's start with upper like we always do. So if you look at the upper, it's actually a much thicker mesh than the 270 that the released a year ago. This is definitely a more premium shoe. You can feel it right out of the box. The materials that are used here, the plastics and everything that are used here, just feel a little more premium than its predecessor, which is the 270. And that mesh is permeated throughout, and it has a black underlay on that mesh. In the mid-panel area, you obviously see this crazy kind of Star Trek looking thing with mesh, black mesh in the middle. The mesh itself is still pretty thick, so it's probably not there for breathability. It looks kind of weird when you first look at it, but it kind of grows on you over time, and that actually does change colors in a translucent way. Go into the rear over here, you have the same exact black mesh on both sides, as well as kind of the plastic material that also is translucent along that. And then finally you have a pull tab that's done in a black over there as well. To the very front of the shoe, you have a I'm pretty sure it's just for design, it doesn't really do very much, but more of that translucent plastic material right there. Then there's a small little plastic swoosh that is done right in the middle of the shoe, right over there. Heading into the tongue, what is amazing about this shoe, and I do not like attached tongue shoes that are based on one booty construction. I feel like personally it really constrains my foot in the midfoot area, and luckily this year is not like the 270 where it has a detached tongue, and thank God for me, I absolutely love that. Towards the very top you have the Air Max logo, also done in that translucent color that changes color. Moving over to the midsole area, so what is cool is this midsole really kind of comes up into the top of the shoe, really towards them, almost like 30-35% of the upper way up. I personally believe they did this to make sure that this was a lot more stable. You have a lot of air down here, and so the midsole over here really extends to the top to create, I wouldn't even say a heel counter, an actual almost like kind of upper counter for the entire upper, so that your foot is more likely to be stuck into place when you're moving around, and there's much more rigidity around kind of the sole and the bottom of the shoe. What is great about the midsole, I really like this. It's actually both tacky and really amazing at the same time, just because of the theme, but the sparkles, I don't know if you can see it, happen all throughout this counter area, as well as the midsole itself, which is made out of this amazing air material that is super thick. It is by far the biggest air pocket that is available on the market today, and that is that's on this back heel area, and it obviously kind of goes down a little bit. It doesn't go all the way to the front, but you probably don't want that because you probably want some type of stability in the very front of it. You go to the bottom, and you have this kind of track-like outer area, and then on the inside you actually have a piece of foam. It's very similar to the 270's dual density foam, where there was air on the outside and things like that. I'd say the main difference here is the rubber on the 720 feels a lot more premium. It does feel a lot better and grippier. They probably did that to increase traction. With that said, this outer area, I actually wore this in the rain yesterday, and it is not very good for traction. I do not recommend walking out in the rain in these. Going into the inside of the shoe, you have a sock liner that does feel pretty amazing. It feels very premium over here, and there's obviously the Air Max branding that is also done on the inside of the shoe. Alright, so what are my thoughts on this shoe? These are sick as fuck. I know I say that about a lot of different shoes, but these are like both futuristic. They don't actually look like shoes. They kind of look like they came out of like a sci-fi whatever. I don't think you can actually see this on camera, but when they're in person and you kind of have light kind of bouncing off of them, they look amazing, and they do look like stars, and that's the theme of the shoe. And the translucent color and kind of things changing are really cool aesthetically. I love the way these shoes look. I didn't actually love them in the pictures as much, but as I've seen them more in person, I've had them on feet. They look great. Going on to comfort, these are, I would actually say, less comfortable than the 270s. I like the 270s in that they have that back heel, which gives you that bounciness, and then the front is relatively tame. If you guys are going to compare this to a Boost or a React or one of the Puma technologies, or with the energy pellets, I can't remember the name of those, these are probably not going to be as comfortable as those specific pairs of shoes or technologies. Air Max itself and kind of the Air technology is almost a 30 to 40-year-old technology. While it's still very, very comfortable, offers you that bouncing feeling and that compression that you really, really like, and it's a fun feeling, it is not to today's standards. But they're super fun to wear because you feel that air all the time. Anytime you walk, anytime you're running down the stairs, anytime you take a couple steps, that air is constantly compressing and pushing you forward. When it comes down to sizing, I would definitely go true to size. There is one thing to note about sizing and comfort in general. I would say that there's no way I could have gone a half size down for my true to size because it'd be too short, but I really wish that Nike either filled in this kind of middle back area with a little more foam or something to make sure that my foot didn't slip as much. And that's it, guys. Until next time, this is the Air Max 720 done in the Aurora Borealis purplish color. Peace.